Chapter 3 of Dilly Court, Tilly True. Tilly True by Dilly Court. Chapter 3. Let's go. Tilly opened her eyes to suffocating darkness and the ascetic smell of old hay. The dust and chaff from the sacking had got up her nose and into her mouth, making her choke. Her whole body was being shaken and jolted about, rolling helplessly on the bare boards of Bert's cart. For a few seconds, she had been so dazed and disoriented that she had not known where she was. Now it was all coming back to her, and she realized that her hands were clamped behind her back, bound at the wrists with a rope cutting into her flesh. Attempting to move her legs, she found that her ankles were similarly tied. Her first instinct was to scream, to cry out for help, but the soot-laden stench of the pea supper permeated the sack, muffling the rumble of the cartwheels over cobblestones and the clip-clopping of the horse's hoofs. She knew that no one would hear her. No one except Bert Tuffin. No one except Bert Tuffin. Feminism. He had sworn to get her, but she had never expected this sort of treatment. He had sworn to get her, but she had never expected this sort of treatment. Yeah, what were you expecting? A slap on the wrist? A slap on the wrist? Is that what you were expecting? Feminism. Equal rights, equal lefts. Yeah. Well deserved. Don't fuck around and you won't find out. Fuck around and find out. That's what they say. Don't fuck around, don't find out. I was saying this since the last two chapters. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? And she's like, man, I'm gonna do what's right. You're doing what's dumb, you idiot. God damn. Okay. He must be a madman if he thought he could get away with abduction. That's besides the point. It's like, oh, it's illegal, he can't do it. No, he can do it, but he will be punished later on. There's a difference there. You understand? You will die and then he will go to prison. But you're dead. Do you understand how this works? If you don't put yourself in that position, in that situation, you do not die. Why would you make such a dumb decision? Like, how tall are you? 5 foot something? How tall? Why would you fuck around like that? Why would you want to do that? Okay, he won't get away with abduction. I will grant you that. Sure, he will get caught and the police will catch him. But will you be alive when the police catches him? That's the question. That's the main question. Or do you not actually care about that? You do. Your family does. But still you're gonna do such shit and get abducted. What the fuck? Just let the men handle the problems and you do your work. Don't fucking mess around. Don't do all this. It's not good. Now obviously you are the main character. Obviously you're gonna save yourself somehow, independence and all that shit, bullshit, complete bullshit. But in reality, that doesn't happen. That is possible, sure, but not probable. You have to understand the difference between probability and possibility. It is possible for a woman to get out of this dangerous situation, to save herself, to escape, but it's not probable. Base your decisions on probabilities, not possibilities. Dumb idiots. Cold, stiff, and scared, as well as angry. Angry. What can you do? What can you do? Tilly curled up in a ball to lessen the bruising effect of being tossed about like a sack of potatoes. Holding her breath, she listened for some clue as to their whereabouts. Faintly, very faintly, she heard the mournful moan of a ship's hooter, and she drew a little comfort from the fact that they must be close to the river. The stinking muddy banks of the Thames had been her childhood playground, and she knew every wharf, quay, and slice of foreshore from Tower Bridge to Wapping Old Stairs. The cart veered suddenly as if turning a corner, and slowly the horse clopped to a halt. Tilly kept very still, her heart thumping and the blood drumming in her ears, every muscle tense and ready to fight. Ready to fight, it's... Oh. You think F for feminism, F for fight? No. It's F for feminism, F for foolishness. Foolishness. Foolish behavior. Ready to fight. Let's see. Let's see what she does. Ready to fight, it seems. Where is it? Ready to fight. Once again, her world of darkness turned upside down, and the blood rushed to her head as she was hefted over Bert's shoulder. Although he didn't utter a single word, she would have known it was Bert from the rancid stench of his unwashed body and the odor of stale pipe tobacco that clung to his clothes. How could pretty little Emily, who had always been so fussy about cleanliness, have let this gross man touch her? Also, she's 14 years old. That's a bit too much. At least if she was 18, this would have been alright. Right. This is weird as fuck though. True. I am with Tilly on this point alone. That's it. The age. That's it. And other than that, I can't even understand, comprehend what is going on in this feminist's brain. The thought of Bert Tuffin violating her sister's innocent body and getting her in the family way made Tilly want to be sick. See, I have no problem with the first part of the sentence, which says the thought of Bert Tuffin violating her sister's innocent body. Sure, I'm there with you. I'm right there beside you on that point alone. Where, because she's 14 years old. No. Pedophilia is just bad. No. I'm not talking about that. The second part. Focus on the second part. And getting her in the family way made Tilly want to be sick. And getting her in the family way. Why would you? In one part, like on one hand, you have pedophilia, and the other part you have family life, family way. How can you actually be equally disgusted by these two points? How can you? That doesn't make sense at all. This means life. This creates life. The family way creates life. And pedophilia, obviously, that's wrong. Children shouldn't be no. If you're an adult, that's okay. But okay, I'm there with her with this. If she had said the thought of Bert Tuffin violating her sister's innocent body made Tilly want to be sick, sure, I would have 100% agreed to that. But the fact that it is mentioned that getting her in the family way as well made her sick, is just mind-boggling. Because what do you at the end of the story, obviously she's gonna get married to some rich dude and she's gonna have his kids, right? The family way, yeah, that's going to happen. We all know that. But what is happening in her head right now? Why does she think so? What is so bad about it? I don't understand. Like, this is like, yeah, feminists think that being a housewife is becoming a slave, like submissive housewife is submissive, so submission means slavery. That's not it at all. Like, yeah. Okay. What do we say? Her forehead crashed painfully against the back of Bert's thighs as he stopped, and she heard the sound of a key grating in a lock, the squealing protest of a door swinging open on rusty hinges, and the dull thud as it closed. They were on the move again, and now the sounds were just those of Bert's hobnailed boots clattering across bare boards. The rhythm changed, and Tilly realized that they were going down a flight of steps. He came to a halt, and she was jerked forward, tossed into a void. She landed on what felt like a brick floor with a painful thud that wrenched a cry from her dry lips. There ain't no clerical gent to save you this time. Exactly! Who's gonna save you now? She's gonna save herself. Okay. We'll see about that, we'll see. How is she gonna save herself from Bert? Let's see that. Like, I hope she does it without anybody's help. She does it with her own wit and like quick thinking and like some strategy and all that shit. She does it independently, like a true feminist that she is. You gotta stay true to yourself, right? Like, this is fiction, right? Yeah, this is fiction. So anything can happen, right? I hope you do it on your own. That's all I'm hoping. Let's actually, yeah, let's fucking cheer for her. She'll do it on her own. There ain't no clerical gent to save you this time. Bert whipped the sack from her head. You ain't so high and mighty. You ain't so high and mighty now, are you, miss? Nope, he isn't. Lying on her side, Tilly could see him in outline only, his huge body towering above her. You won't get away with this, Bert Tuffin. Me dad will be out looking for me. I wouldn't like to be in your shoes when he finds you. Okay, let's grant you that argument as well. Your dad does find Bert Tuffin. I'll let you have it. Are you alive? Are you alive in that situation or not? That's the more important. That's the question that is way more important. Okay. Bert growled in his throat, and for a moment, Tilly thought he was going to hit her, but he threw back his head and roared with laughter. Your dad thinks you've gone to India with the. Okay. Oh, you're fucked. Why did you have to lie to your fucking family, dude? She already told them about going to India. Great. That's what she said before leaving. Fuck. That's fucked. You're fucked. Absolutely fucked up. They're gonna think you're in India. Nice. Good job. I said, yeah, she did not need to lie there. She could have just fucking told her family the truth as it was and took the help of the family to find a different job, a new job. Because I don't remember how many members are there in the family, but let's say 7. 7 circles, 7 networks, 7 circles of networks are better than just one network. You understand? Your dad thinks you've gone to India with the person. No one's going to come looking for you. It was true. Mom and Pops thought she was with the Palgraves, and the Palgraves thought she had gone back to Whitechapel. Great, great. Nobody fucking knows. Nobody fucking knows now. Great. Mom had always said her imagination would get her into trouble one day. That day had come with a vengeance. Yeah, should have listened to Mom. Shivering, Tilly clenched her teeth to stop them chattering. Bert was moving about the room, kicking at objects and mumbling beneath his breath. There was a tiny flare and a strong smell of sulfur as he struck a match, holding it over the stub of a candle stuck in a bottle. Where have you brought me to? Gazing around at the bare brick walls, oozing with the damp, Tilly's heart sank as she answered her own question. They were in some sort of cellar, below ground, windowless, and very cold. No harm in telling you because you can't escape. But I mean, okay. Oh, I shouldn't laugh at her situation because she's a woman and she shouldn't be put to such mistreatment and all that. She shouldn't be. She shouldn't suffer. I shouldn't be laughing at her suffering and all that. Who fucking brought it upon herself? She did. She brought it upon herself. He was not out to get her from the very start. She did what she did twice, actually. She did 2 bullshit, one with the horse and one with the sister thing. I say, with the horse, like animal cruelty and all that, okay, go and complain to another man and he will deal with it. Fuck that. Anyhow, you couldn't, and another man had to step in anyhow, so could have done that from the start. Just snitch, basically. Fuck that. Okay, animal cruelty shouldn't be happening. Okay, go and fucking snitch to police. Okay, sure. I'll accept that. If you wanted to make a significant change. Personally, I would say, fuck it. I'll just fucking be on my way. If I were a woman in that situation, I would be on my way. And secondly, then with the sister's case, okay, sister's too young and this guy is too old and all of this bullshit. Okay, I understand your concern, but you should have let your dad or brothers handle it. Brothers were not there, but dad was there. You should have let your dad handle it. In the end, he did handle it anyhow. So, I mean, it's like the want for accomplishment and change is so much, but actual results are like nil every fucking time. You start to do something, sure, the initiative is there, but at the end, you always need a man there because you're fighting against other men. You can't fight against a man. Then I would say, logically, why would you risk like forming that enmity between you and that man when you know you cannot defend yourself? Why would you put yourself, like, look at me right now, I'm fucking weak. Why would I fucking go and argue with some wrestler or bodybuilder or fighter? I wouldn't do that. I know I can't fucking protect myself, so I wouldn't do that. That is logical. But why don't feminists understand that? It's like, fuck. Okay, no harm in telling you because you can't escape. Bert set the candle down on an upturned tea chest. This is my place in Wapping, and seeing as how you've turned your sister again, agin, A-G-I-N. I think it's against in a different way. Agin me, you'll have to take her place. Oh, fuck. Okay, Okay. We have Bert Tuffin's intentions made pretty clear. Okay. Now, this is what you would call a slave, basically. You know, a sex slave. Yeah, basically. Being a housewife is not being a slave, you idiots. Okay. You're mad. The enormity of what he had just said shafted into Tilly's brain. You can't keep me prisoner here. This is 1897. It ain't the bleeding Middle Ages. You just can't kidnap a person and keep them locked up. Legally, he can't. I understand. But can he physically do it? Yes, he can actually. And he'll only go to jail if he is caught. And nobody fucking knows that you got kidnapped in the first place. How do you think he's going to get caught, first of all? And even if he does get caught, what are the chances of you surviving this ordeal? Feminism. Feminism also fucks up your brain, I think. Yeah. Because it is such a bullshit concept that when you can accept this bullshit, obviously every other bullshit in the world also seems possible, also seems true, also becomes real. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah. Hoity-toity, aren't you? Well, I likes a bit of spirit in a woman. Although you ain't a patch on pretty little Emmy with her winning ways. Oh, sheet. Fuck. Like, so he already laid with her? Is that what he's saying? Damn. With her winning ways. It were harder to get into her bloomers, yeah, he did, than to get at the buggery crown jewels, but I reckon I was more than fond of the little bird. Okay. I don't like this. No. You're a disgusting thing. You touch me and I'll kill you. How? How will you kill him? How will you defend yourself? If I were in her situation, I'd just shut the fuck up. I literally would just shut the fuck up and be like, yes, okay. Because saying sorry would also get me nowhere. I already understand that, because asking for forgiveness, he wouldn't fucking leave me because I'd go to the police and he'll get arrested and all of that. Obviously, he's not gonna fucking leave me. I'll just accept that situation and just fucking get on with it and look for a moment, a chance to escape. That's it. That's all that I would do. Unlike her, who's fucking just throwing these empty threats. What the fuck? You're gonna fuck up your situation even more. That's the problem here. Your delusion is just, let's keep it aside for now. By you being so delusional, you're gonna fuck up your situation even more. What the fuck? Unsheathing a knife from his belt, Bert advanced on Tilly with his arm raised as though he meant to stab her. Great. Now you're gonna die. Obviously, you're not gonna die, I know. So many fucking chapters left for you to find love, but not. I wanna see this feminist become a woman, an actual fucking traditional woman. That's all I hope for. What was the line? I ain't always going to be poor. I made me mind up to that. Yeah, marry a rich guy and you won't be poor. It's common sense. Closing her eyes, Tilly stuck her chin out. Go on then, you bugger, slit me throat, and as soon end up dead as bedded by the likes of you. Why would you say that? Even at this point, like, even if that was the fucking emotion that you had, that you'd rather die than get raped by that fucker, you should have just shut the fuck up. You could have just shut the fuck up. Now, because you said this, he's not going to kill you. Great. Now, 1 point for survival, I guess. Yeah, but I'm sure she knows she's not actually thinking about that. She's just getting emotional, that's all. Grabbing her by the hair, Bert dragged her to a sitting position. The pins that had confined Tilly's guinea gold hair in a tight bun flew in all directions as he coiled a long tress around his hand. She couldn't move, her throat was exposed, and she really thought her life was going to end. But Bert used the blade to slit the ropes that bound her wrists and ankles. Tightening his grip on her hair, he jerked her to her feet. It's your choice. After a few days down here with nothing to eat or drink, you'll change your tune. I'll have you singing like a little canary, and eating out of me hand afore I'm done. You'll make up to me for what I lost, Tilly True. You'll warm me bed, and you'll keep a house for me and me boys, and you'll like it. See if you don't. I mean, what would a sensible person do now? Okay, they would apologize and accept their situation, maybe. What would a feminist do? Let's find out. Because I know she's gonna do something weird now. That's gonna fuck up her situation even more. You're insane, Tilly said, turning her head away from his furtive breath. You'll end up in Colney Hatch for sure. I assume that's the name of the prison, but yeah, you're really not helping your situation here. I wouldn't bet on it. Bert let her go with a scornful snort. You won't be alone long, dearie. The rats will keep you company. Ugh. Ugh. Just mind they don't chew your fingers and toes off. Chuckling, he stomped up the steps and slammed the door. Tilly's heart sank as she heard the key turn in the lock. At least he had left the candle, but maybe that had been part of his plan. Its flickering beam cast weird shadows on the walls, moving and shifting in a ghostly dance. Great. Part of the cellar was used to house sacks of coal, and the remaining space was littered with rubbish. As she peered into the dark corners, Tilly thought she saw something move, catching a glimpse of what looked like a gleaming red eye. Chafing her sore wrists, she forced herself to walk around her prison, kicking over broken boxes, bits of old harness, a chair with 3 legs, and a bucket that had lost its handle. Her searches disturbed several colonies of cockroaches, sending them scuttling for cover across the brick floor. Shaking with revulsion, Tilly continued to look for a means of escape and found none. But it was a relief to find that the gleaming eye had been nothing more than the candlelight reflecting on a broken bottle. She was cold, so cold that she had lost all feeling in her feet and lower limbs, and her stomach growled with hunger. How is she gonna die? By hypothermia or by hunger? Who knows? Why would you put yourself in this position? Climbing the steep stone steps, Tilly hammered on the door with her fists, shouting for help, but no one came. Shouting for help. Shouting for help. Where is the independent feminist? Where is the independent feminist spirit? Why do you need someone to help you? I thought you needed no man. Oh, she's calling for help. Like calling for other women for help. Okay, that makes sense. Sure. Okay, I can let her have that. shouting for help, but no one came. Thirst was becoming her biggest problem, and it was all she could do to stop herself from panicking. She must keep a level head, or Bert would have won. Or Bert would have won. He's already kidnapped you and fucking locked you up in the cellar. What more does he need to do to win? You fucking idiot. Sinking down on the bottom step, she felt the cold stone striking through her clothes, and she wrapped her arms around her knees, huddling up as small as she could in order to keep warm. An inky stain was spreading across the floor of the cellar, and she realized that it was water seeping up through the cracks. Great. Now she might fucking drown now. It's like hypothermia, hunger, or drowning. Choose which one. Okay, seeping through the cracks. They must, she thought, be very close to the river, and the tide was coming in. Great. Common sense told her that the water would not rise more than a few inches, but panic was beginning to numb her brain. She was all alone. Common sense told her. She has some left, I guess. Okay. She was all alone. The candle would not last long, and soon she would be in total darkness. The terrible truth gradually dawned upon her. Bert had been right. Okay. She had told her family that she was going to work for the Palgraves, and she had made up the story about going off to India. They would have no cause to doubt her. That's what you get, my girl, for telling lies. That's what you get, my girl, for telling lies. Exactly. Fucking idiot. She could hear Ma's voice in her head as clearly as if she was standing right beside her. Ma was correct. Ma was absolutely correct. She's got more common sense than you, it would seem. And Miss Hattie, I don't remember how I pronounced it. And Miss Hattie and the Reverend thought she had returned to Red Dragon Passage. It was true. No one would know she was missing, and so no one would come to her rescue. Good for her. Getting to her feet, Tilly knew she had to keep moving in order to keep the blood flowing through her veins. Glancing at the candle, she guessed that it would last for another couple of hours before it guttered and went out. She would be in the dark then, listening for the scuffling of rats and mice, waiting for the roaches to run over her face and body. Frantically, she began to tidy the cellar, stacking the rubbish in neat piles and filling the four corners so that the center was clear. The floor needed a good sweep, but there was not so much as a handbrush, let alone a broom. And anyway, the debris was beginning to float. Great. She needed to relieve herself, and there was no alternative but to use the bucket, which afterwards she placed as far away as possible. That bucket is gonna fucking float and fucking top lower, and then ugh. By piling the broken boxes against one wall, Tilly made a makeshift pallet that was just big enough to allow her to lie down if she curled up in a fetal position. Bert had said he was going to leave her down here until she gave in to him, and she didn't doubt that he meant what he said. She lay down, closed her eyes, and said a prayer. Yeah, only God can save you now. She must have fallen asleep as suddenly, in the middle of a wild dream in which she was running away from an unseen terror, Tilly woke up with a start. She couldn't see a thing, not even a chink of light, but she could hear scrabbling and scratching coming from a far corner. Scrambling to her feet, she landed in a pool of stinking river water that had come in with the tide, bringing with it the overflow from flooded privies. Stumbling across the room, she barked her shins on the stone steps as she clambered up them on all fours. Sobbing with relief, she reached the door and beat upon it with her fist, shouting, screaming, a hysterical bubble rising in her throat. No one answered her cries for help. She sank down onto the top step, curled up with her arms around her knees, and buried her face in her damp skirt. How long she remained like this, she did not know. Disoriented in the darkness, Tilly had no concept of time passing. She didn't know if she was in a waking nightmare or asleep. At times, she thought she was going to die, but a small insistent voice in her head nagged her not to give way. Don't let that brute win. Use your loaf, Tilly. That's what Pops would have said. At last, use your loaf. You fucking idiot. You should have used your loaf before. You fucking. Nah, using loaf. You. That's what Pops would have said. At last, after what seemed like an eternity, she heard footsteps approaching and the sound of a key turning in the lock. The door opened and Tilly raised her arm to shield her eyes, blinking in the unaccustomed light. God's truth, look at the state of you. Bert loomed above her, smirking. Not so high and mighty this morning, I'll be bound. Backing away from him down the steps, Tilly stuck her chin out, determined not to let him see just how petrified she had been. This ain't exactly the blooming Ritz. She still got that sass. She does not understand that she is in a survival situation. I mean, sure, make the mistakes, make whatever mistakes you want. I know you've got this fucking plot armor, and that's all that's keeping you alive at this point. Blooming Ritz, you got brass, Tilly. I'll give you that. Now, are you going to be a good girl, or do you want to spend another night in me's cellar? Not particularly. Bert backed into the narrow hallway. Come on up then, but you try anything and I'll have you back in the cellar before you can blink. Tilly followed Bert along the dimly lit passage to a room at the back of the house that appeared to serve as both kitchen and living room. The walls were lined with bulging sacks and tea chests piled one on top of the other. The flagstone floor was littered with muddy boots, torn newspapers, dirty socks, and bits of food. It was obvious to Tilly that there had been no woman's touch in this dwelling for a very long time. And now there will be. Because of you. Ha! Nice. A deal table stood in the center of the room, surrounded by 4 kitchen chairs, with a wheelback chair sited close to a rusting black range. The tabletop had almost disappeared beneath a pile of dirty crockery, beer bottles, spilled matches, and empty cigarette packets. The smell of stale food, tobacco smoke, and sour beer hung in a miasma so thick that it made Tilly retch. The only good thing in the room was a fire burning brightly in the range and a kettle singing on the hob. You can clear up in here after you've made us a brew, Bert said, slumping down in the chair by the range. This is a midden, Tilly said, shaking her head. You live like a pig. Bro, it's like she wants to be fucking hit in the head or something. Here, you better watch your mouth if you don't want to go back down to the cellar. You'll keep a civil tongue in your head and you'll do as I says. Now make us some tea and no more lip. No more lip, bitch. I mean, why would you do that? Like, I am not a misogynist in this case. What the fuck? I'm the only one who's fucking thinking of her survival. I want her to survive, and she's taking all the steps she can to go in the opposite direction. Like, okay, fuck this. Wrinkling her nose, Tilly picked up a china mug that had something furry growing in the bottom of it. This is how you live, is it? Hey, until now, that's why I needed a woman in the house. Until now, that's why I needed a woman in the house. You'll find a sink in the scullery and there's a privy in the backyard. Don't get no ideas about running off though. There's a 6 foot high wall all around and the gate's padlocked. You behave proper, Tilly, and we may rub along all right. Reluctantly, Tilly took 2 cups into the scullery and found the clay sink piled high with pots and pans. The walls ran with damp and fungus grew up from the cracks. There was a window, but the glass panes were all broken and stuffed with brown paper and rags. Opening the door that led to the yard, Tilly realized that Bert had not exaggerated. Not only were the soot-blackened brick walls at least 6 feet in height, but the tops were spiked with shards of broken glass. Just getting to the wall would have been an almost impossible task, but obviously used the space to store items as diverse as cartwheels, cages, coils of rope, and chamber pots, perhaps with an eye to selling them. To get to the pump or the privy, she had to negotiate a narrow path between all these obstacles, and if it was difficult in daylight, Tilly could only imagine the perils of going to the privy in the dark. Although the temperature could not have been much above freezing and a dusting of frost softened the contours of the stark shapes, Tilly was desperate for a wash, and she stuck her head beneath the pump, letting the ice-cold water run through her hair. She washed her face and hands, shaking the water off for want of a towel. Looking upwards, she realized why no one had heard her frantic cries for help. Bert's house was squashed in between tall, windowless warehouses. Perfect. No one's coming to help you. Warehouses. She could just see a forest of tall cranes and the masts of a ship in a narrow slit between the buildings, and she could hear the familiar sounds of the river. Shivering, Tilly bit back tears. She couldn't be more than a mile or two from home, and yet she was trapped. So sad, huh? Years ago, peering into the window of a pawnbroker's shop, she had seen a fly trapped in a piece of armor. That was exactly how she felt at this moment. Yeah. You deserve this, by the way. Yes, you totally deserve this. Actions have consequences, Tilly. Bad actions have bad consequences. She felt at this moment. That was exactly how she felt at this moment. A shout from inside made her jump. All right, but toughen, she thought, gritting her teeth. I'll play you at your game, but you won't win. I'll get myself out of here if it's the last thing I do. Yeah, you're obviously going to do it, but let's see how you do it. I'm more interested in the how of it. Oh. Rinsing the cups beneath the pump, Tilly went back inside to make a pot of tea. Having drunk three cups of the strong brew, heavily laced with sugar, Bert belched and got to his feet. I want this lot cleared before I gets home this evening, and I expects a hot meal waiting for me and the boys. Revived by a cup of sweet tea, Tilly chose not to argue. What boys? Them what's coming in the door now? Bert chuckled as though he had said something witty. Cocking his head and listening to the heavy thud of feet coming down the passage. As my boys come home from night work, they'll want tea and food, so you'd better get busy. How can I cook if there's no food in the place? You tell Clem what she needs and he'll get it. Picking his greatcoat off the floor, Bert shrugged it over his broad shoulders. Don't try nothing funny, he added as the door opened and two men stormed into the room. Bert jerked his thumb towards the taller and uglier of the pair. Abel won't take no nonsense from you, so don't try nothing. Abel and Clem. Okay. Okay, so that's her, is it, Governor? Abel said, studying Tilly from beneath thick brown eyebrows. Looks like something washed up by the tide. She's had a night in the coal hole, so she knows what to expect if she don't do exactly what we says. Bert jammed a cloth cap on his head. I got work to do. Make sure she's locked in proper when you goes out. I got more than one use for Miss Tilly True. Laughing, Bert strolled out of the room. Abel stared hard at Tilly, a speculative look in his eyes that were the color of pale ale. So you're the second prize, are you, Tilly? You ain't as tasty as young Emily, but you look as though you could manage a day's work. What'd you say, Clem? Fuck. Let's see how she interacts with them now. Shuffling his feet, Clem gave Tilly a sideways glance and then looked away. She'll do. Okay, he seems a bit shy, I guess. I don't know. Standing her ground, Tilly decided that Clem was not an immediate threat. He had finer features and a less threatening manner than Abel, who had a brutish look about him. In fact, beneath the layer of grime and river mud that covered Clem from head to foot, he might even prove to be human. But the impression was fleeting, and Clem had turned away and was searching for something in the pile of crockery on the table. Abel picked up the teapot and thrust it into Tilly's hands. Make yourself useful. We've been out on the river all night and we want feeding. You show me the food and I'll cook it. But as far as I can see, there ain't enough to feed a mouse, let alone a rat like you. Why would you say that? Why would you say that? Like using your loaf or something, using common sense you were talking about. Why did you have to say let alone a rat like you? Why? What's the need? What's the necessity? The words were out before Tilly could stop herself, and she knew instantly she had made a big mistake. I can predict what's going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen, I'm sure. Big mistake. She had made a big mistake. Abel's hand caught her across the side of her head. I know. Sending her flying across the room, and she would have fallen if it had not been for Clem standing in the way. He steadied her, but the lid flew off the teapot, covering them both in tepid tea and wet tea leaves. The lid hit the floor and broke into small shards. Abel leapt forward with his hand raised as if to strike Tilly for the second time. Warding off the blow with his forearm, Clem shook his head. Leave her, Abe. The governor won't thank you for beating up his totty. Abel's brows knotted in a scowl and his lips disappeared in a tightly drawn line. What's up with you? Actually, yeah. What's up with you, huh? You liking this girl, huh? He's the one who's going to help her escape, isn't he? Fuck. Damn. I'm not saying that his father and his brother, what they're doing is correct and all, but are you ready to fucking betray your your father and your brother for a girl? I mean, on the other hand, you could convince your dad and brother to fucking leave her or whatnot, send her back and whatnot, but are you really going to betray them for her? Like, yeah, you really I think he's already fucking has a crush, I think. God damn. I'm bleeding starving and you breaking the cook's arm ain't going to get us breakfast. Oh, okay. He's a logical guy. Okay. Clem put his hand in his pocket and pulled out a handful of small change. Here, you go and get some grub for her to fry up and I'll make sure she don't make a dash for it. Okay. I really thought he was going to fucking go down that line. Oh, I love her so much. She shouldn't suffer and all that bullshit. Okay. Shaking tea leaves from her skirt, Tilly eyed them cautiously. Abel was definitely the one to watch. He had a mean, animalistic look about him. She had seen his type many times before amongst the labourers who toiled in the dockyards. Men who had scant regard for women and would as soon black a girl's eye as look at her. And what would you do? I'd go and fucking say some shit to fucking get that black eye. She could still feel the imprint of his hand on the side of her head. Boy. Funny. Abel seemed the more dominant of the two brothers, and yet, in a strange way, he appeared to pay heed to Clem. Pocketing the money, Abel pointed his finger at Tilly, looking down his arm as if it were the double barrel of a shotgun. He said nothing, but his threatening glance was enough. Like that. Maybe like that. Okay. He swaggered out of the room, leaving the door swinging on its hinges. Shrugging off his pea jacket, Clem went out into the yard, Through the open door, Tilly could hear him pumping water. Perhaps he was washing himself, although neither brother looked as though they were much used to the habit of keeping clean. Seizing the opportunity, she ran to the front door, praying that Abel might have left it unlocked. But her hopes were in vain. She would not cry. She would not let them see that she was deeply anxious and afraid. Walking slowly back to the kitchen, she looked at the mess and her heart sank. But there was nothing for it. She rolled up her sleeves and began to clear the table. Yes, finally, some common sense. Finally, you are learning how to survive. And also, how to be a good housewife. I mean, might as well learn, right? That weren't half bad, Abel said, leaning back in his chair and rubbing his belly. I say we keep this one. What you say, Clem? Chewing on a mouthful of bacon, Clem nodded. Taking a packet of Player's Navy cut from his pocket, Abel selected a cigarette and struck a match on the sole of his boot. He inhaled deeply, exhaling smoke with a satisfied sigh. That's it for me. I'm going for a kill. Pushing back his chair, he got to his feet and let out a loud belch. Clem looked up from his plate. What'll we do about her? You keep an eye on her. Abel turned to Tilly. Don't try nothing, you. He left the kitchen with a trail of cigarette smoke floating in his wake. Having eaten a doorstep sandwich filled with bacon, Tilly was feeling a lot better. She filled a cup with tea and went to sit at the table opposite Clem. Do you always let him tell you what to do? What are you trying to do, Tilly? Wiping the remains of egg yolk and bacon fat off his plate with a hunk of bread, Clem gave her a quick glance and then looked away again. No. Tilly tried again. You know you can't keep me here against me will. Explain how? Explain why? Like, yeah, it's against the law. So what? You really think that criminals actually fucking care about the law? What fucking reality are you living? Lord Almighty. You know you can't keep me here against me will. Clem munched on the bread, saying nothing. It's against the law to hold me prisoner. You'll end up in Newgate. It's not up to me. Getting to his feet, Clem went to sit in the chair by the range. Let's get on with it. You'll get it in the neck if the governor comes home and the place is still a mess. And you'd let him, would you? What? And you'd let him, would you? Jumping up till he faced him, hands on hips, you'd stand up and let your old man leather me, would you? Do you understand what just happened? I don't think you do. She is asking the son of her kidnapper if he will let his father fucking hit her, and would he not stand against his father and quite possibly his brother for a girl he doesn't know. What? Like, what? Like, what are you trying to do here? I don't understand. I really can't wrap my head around a feminist's fucking point of view, dude. Why are you asking for help? Phew. How can you ask your kidnapper's son for help? okay, if it was the kidnapper's daughter, I would still be like, maybe. But he's also a guy. He's also a guy. Where's the feminism? And also, it just doesn't seem logical. Why would he fucking help you? Why would he fuck over his relationship with his dad and his brother to fucking help a stranger like you? I'm not saying that what they're doing is correct or morally right or legally right. Obviously, what Bert Tuffin is doing is legally wrong and completely immoral. I understand that. Kidnapping is wrong, sure. And having a sex slave, definitely wrong, completely wrong. I understand all that. But logically, why would a criminal's son fucking save this fucking person he doesn't even fucking know and go against his own fucking father? Like, how does that help him? He's not committing the crime here. He's not gonna fucking serve whatever sentence. Only Bert would. So, I mean, if you think about it logically, I don't think he has any fucking reason. And he seems like a logical person. I don't think he would fucking never do. He would never fucking do it. I mean, if he's thinking logically, of course. You know how girls are. They will make you think emotionally. I hope you don't fall into her trap, Clem. Let her escape on her own. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm asking. Please, let her escape on her own. If she can escape, don't stop her. I'll let you have that. It's like, I don't want to fucking come in this fucking scenario. I did not fucking help you, dad. I did not fucking help you, brother, and I did not fucking help her either. But I did not fucking stop you, dad. I did not fucking stop you, brother, and I did not fucking stop her as well. That's it. I'll fucking stay out of it. Sure, that's okay. But do not fucking help her. That's all I'm saying. Because why would you fucking go against your fucking father and brother? I don't understand that. Okay. Clem eyed her, a dull flush rising from his throat to his cheeks. Oh shit. A dull flush rising from his throat to his cheeks. I won't have no say in it. If you know what's good for you, you'll keep quiet and just get on with it. True. He's a logical kind of guy. I understand. I like that. Now that he was clean, Tilly could see that Clem was much younger than she had at first thought. He couldn't be much about 22 or 3. Scrubbed up, she thought he might even look presentable if he wore tidy clothes and brushed his hair that was lighter than Abel's, although that did not make him fair. Clem's hair was the color of burnt toffee and his hazel eyes were fringed with thick dark lashes. Eyeing him more out of curiosity than interest, Tilly wondered if a better person lurked beneath his tough exterior. So that you can fucking manipulate him. I know. Abel had been quite happy to see her starve, but Clem had insisted that she would be able to do more work if she had a good breakfast inside her. Logical, still on the logical side. I like that, Clem. Please stay that way. Just stay logical and stay out of the situation how much ever possible. Like, as much as possible, just stay out of this. Turning her back on him, Tilly set to work, but her brain was focused on planning her escape. Good. Plan your escape alone now. That's all. Having cleared the table, throwing rubbish in the fire, and piling the dirty crockery on the wooden draining board in the scullery, she found a broom and began sweeping the floor. Clem sat in the chair by the range, and it was obvious to Tilly that he was having difficulty in staying awake. His eyes kept closing, and his head rolled to the side or flopped down onto his chest. Then with a jerk, he would pull himself upright and glare at her. After a bit, Tilly stopped sweeping. Look here, she said, making an effort to sound friendly. I can see how you're fagged out. There ain't no way that I can escape, as far as I can see. So why don't you go to your bed? His eyes opening wide, Clem stared at her. What's it to you? Nothing. I don't care if he falls onto the fire, but you're in me way. I can't get to that corner around your big plates of meat. Okay. Getting slowly to his feet, Clem shot her a suspicious glance. This had best not be a trick. It probably is, though. Get on with you. How can I get through a locked door or over a wall covered in broken glass? I mean, fair. And don't forget, the windows is all barred. This drum used to be manager's office, what ran the tobacco warehouses. They kept the wages here. It's harder to get out of than Newgate. I'm not daft, Tilly said, leaning on the broom. I'm going to have a few words with your old man when he gets home. Make him see sense like. Stupid. Fucking hell. Okay. Yeah, I wanna watch that. Yeah. Clem's hollow laughter echoed around the kitchen even after he had left the room. You can laugh, Tilly said to herself, stabbing at a pile of rotting food with the broom. But I will get out of here, and you're going to help me climb off low. You see if you don't. I knew it. I knew that was going to happen. She's fucking gonna manipulate him, drive a wedge between Clem and his father and brother, and fucking misuse him. And then I think she's gonna escape along with him because he can't fucking stay back with his father and brother. They will fucking kill him because he let her escape. And then after they both escape, she might not stay with her family because I don't know, because he might fucking come back again and fucking kidnap her again. So because of that, she'll fucking run away somewhere else with this guy, like for protection, obviously. They both will go away somewhere, and then she'll find another man and she'll drop this guy because he's not as good, basically. And then this guy will be alone. That's exactly what's going to happen. I'm damn sure. She's definitely going to drop him. She's going to fucking marry a rich guy, dude. That's what's going to happen. Although she had worked with a will, Tilly could see little difference in the state of the room, and fatigue was overcoming her. Flopping down in the chair by the freshly stoked range, she put her feet up just for a moment and closed her eyes. A stick. What's this then? Bert's loud roar awakened Tilly from a deep, dreamless sleep. It was quite dark in the room with just a glimmer of light coming from the embers in the range. She yelped as Bert grabbed her ear, dragging her to her feet. Lazy little bitch. I told you to clear this mess and you've been kipping. Dazed with sleep, Tilly's heart hammered inside her ribcage as if it were trying to force its way out. I done me best. I ain't a blooming miracle worker. Where's me dinner? I don't smell nothing cooking. I can't cook if there's ain't no food in the larder. Bert fisted his hands. Cheeky little cow. I'll have to teach you some manners. Hey, governor. A voice from the doorway caused Bert to pause and glance over his shoulder. Clem strolled into the kitchen, running his hand through his hair and yawning. What's the matter? Bert scowled. I caught this bitch napping. That's what's the matter. And there's nothing for supper. I thought I told you to keep an eye on her, you useless piece of shit. Holding her breath, Tilly watched Clem's face turn to stone, and for a moment she almost felt sorry for him. But the feeling passed as quickly as it had come. Clem's mouth widened in a grin, but his eyes remained narrow and wary. She probably can't cook anyway, Gov. We'll go down the pub and get a pint and a pie. You're paying? I'm paying. You had a good haul then. A couple of dead-ons. Delivered to the beadle all right and proper, ready for the coroner. And there was a well-heeled. Clem patted his pocket. Well enough, old man. Get your brother out of bed, Bert said, slapping Clem on the back. We'll go to the pub for a supper. I'll deal with her later. Trembling from head to foot, Tilly held her breath as they sauntered out of the kitchen. She heard Clem shout for Abel, the sound of footsteps on the bare stair treads, and then the opening and closing of the front door. She was alone in the house and it was eerily silent. Eerily silent. When her heart rate returned to something near normal, she ran to the door, turning the handle and finding it locked. Kicking the wooden panels and cursing Bert Tuffin with all the expletives she had ever learned. She must keep calm. It was no use getting hysterical. No use getting hysterical, it seems. You've been hysterical from chapter 1. Fucking idiot. Fetching a candle from the kitchen, Tilly went upstairs to the first floor landing. There were 2 bedrooms, both of them sparsely furnished with a bed and a single chest of drawers. Clothes littered the bare floorboards, and the bedclothes were rumpled and filthy. The stale smell of unwashed bodies and unclean chamber pots made her wrinkle her nose in disgust. As Clem had said, the windows were barred and slim as she was, Tilly knew that she could barely squeeze an arm between the iron bars, let alone her whole body. I mean, so are you saying you're fat? Okay. Walking more slowly up the second flight of stairs, she found 2 more rooms, one empty except for a truckle bed with a sagging palliasse and a small window close to the ceiling. She was about to shut the door when Tilly realized that there was a key in the lock. Snatching at it, she tucked it down the front of her blouse between her stays and her chemise. What the fuck are these words, dude? Stays and chemise? It might not be of any use, but it gave her a feeling of security. That gave you a feeling of security? A key? Okay. There was only one other room, and she opened the door and went inside. She thought that this must belong to Bert. It was better furnished than the rest of the house, boasting a large iron bedstead, a tall boy, and a washstand, minus the wash basin and jug. Cobwebs trailing from the ceiling tickled mustache. Okay. Cobwebs trailing from the ceiling tickled her face, and, as in the rooms downstairs, the strong, musky smell of unwashed mail hung in a pall over the rumpled bed. There were curtains at the windows, but these hung in tatters and would doubtless crumble to dust if anyone attempted to draw them. On the wall above the washstand, there was a single picture. Holding the candle close to it, Tilly saw that it was a faded daguerreotype. Daguerreotype? Daguerreotype. Daguerreotype of a young woman with a sweet face and sad eyes, dressed in the fashion of some 20 years previously. It must, she thought, be Bert's wife, the mother of his 2 sons. But what struck her forcibly was a startling likeness to Emily. I understand. Okay. Was there somewhere deep down a soft core beneath Bert Tuffin's brutal exterior? Had Emily touched something in him that had lain dormant for such a long time that it had calcified into a stone? Tilly went downstairs. Sure, whatever. Tilly went downstairs wondering if she could appeal to his better nature to let her go. But you are a bitch though, unlike Emily. I mean, how are you going to do that? Do you at least look similar? But it was a forlorn hope, and she shook with fear at the prospect of spending a night alone in this dreadful house with Bert. Forcing herself to be practical, she raked the coals in the range and built the fire up to a cheerful blaze. She put the kettle on the hob, made a pot of tea. How much tea do you guys fucking drink? And ate the last of the bread, but having tidied everything away, she could not settle. English people do drink a lot of tea, don't they? I mean, the Indians do as well, but it's like, I mean, yeah, we do as well. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Sorry. Like someone else, some other foreigner could say this, I guess, but I as an Indian can't say this. Sure. She put the kettle on the hob, made a pot of tea, and ate the last of the bread, but having tidied everything away, she could not settle. Pacing the floor, she waited nervously for the sound of the key in the lock. The hands on the white-faced clock on the mantel shelf barely seemed to move, and Tilly was growing more and more apprehensive. She began rummaging through the drawers in the kitchen table, searching for a suitable weapon. Suitable weapon? But the knives were all blunt and round-tipped. They would have a job. They would have a job to cut cheese, let alone stab a man to death. Then, at the very back of the drawer, she found a pair of scissors, and she stuck them into a boot. She had barely stowed them away when she heard the front door opening and the sound of loud voices. Backing away towards the scullery, Tilly clasped her hands together to stop them shaking. So you got them scissors now. What are you gonna do? There's 3 fucking men. You eliminate 1. I'll let you have 1. What would happen? What would these 2 do? Oh, you killed our father. Oh my god. You're dead. And the guy that you fucking tried to kill would also survive. Scissors, it seems. The door opened and Bert lurched into the room, obviously drunk and barely able to stand. He staggered towards her, grinning foolishly and waving a stone bottle in her face. Have a drop of tiddly, ducks. It'll warm the frosty cockles of your heart. Stomping about the room and grumbling, Abel demanded to know what Tilly had done with his sea boots. Tilly ignored him and dodged away from Bert's flailing arms. Grabbing his father by the shoulders, Clem guided him to the chair by the fire. Sit down, old man, before you falls down. I wants a kiss from her. Oh, shit's beginning. Oh, fuck. Shit. Bert said, waving his hand in Tilly's direction. Come and sit on me knee, pretty. Oh. Oh. Shit's about to go down. I mean, actions have consequences. What the fuck? What the fuck? Shit. Casting an anxious glance at Clem, Tilly shook her head. Clem took the stopper from the bottle and held it to Bert's lips. Have another drop, governor. It'll make you sleep like a baby. Swipping a gulp of gin, Clem coming to the rescue. Out of being a simp or just wanting to avoid whatever bad things he wants to avoid, I guess. I don't know. I don't understand the reason yet, but let's see. Swigging a gulp of gin, Bert leered at Tilly over the bottle. Sleeping in the worst thing on me mind, boy. Oh lord, Tilly, you're fucked. You're literally now going to be fucked. Where's me sea boots, you interfering trollop? Demanded Abel, tipping over a chair. I can't find nothing now. Out there at the scullery, Tilly said, along with your jacket and cap. Still mumbling, Abel went into the scullery and returned almost immediately carrying an armful of boots, 2 jackets and 2 caps, which he dropped on the floor. Get your stuff on, Clem. Leave the old sod to get on with it. We got work to do. Picking up his things, Clem moved closer to Tilly. He'll be dead to the world in 2 ticks. What are you trying to do, Clem? Are you falling for her? Is that it? Why are you trying to console her? Suspicious. What'd you say? Bert tried to get up but slumped back onto the chair. Told her to mind her manners, Clem said, shrugging on his pea jacket. Yes, and you'd better have the food on the table when us gets home, Abel said, shoving his smelly feet into his boots. Come on, Clem. Let's see how many jumpers we can fish out of the river tonight. See if we can't stack the shelves in the dead houses high with their stinking swollen corpses. His grunted reply was lost as Clem followed Abel out of the room, and with the blood drumming in her ears, Tilly stood petrified. The front door slammed and she was alone with Bert. But he had closed his eyes, his cheeks were stained red, and his breath came in snorting snores. Good. He's asleep at least. If she could just get past him, she might be able to get up the stairs and lock herself in the room with the truckle bed. Hopefully, Bert had drunk enough to make him sleep through the night. Walking on tiptoe till he held her breath, just another few feet, and she would be out of the kitchen. Not daring even to look at him, she was about to pass the chair when his arm shot out and he grabbed her skirt, dragging her down onto his lap. Okay. His foetid breath stank of gin, sour cheese, and onions. It's just you and me now, Tilly me girl. Oh well, we all knew that was going to happen. It was predictable, obviously. I mean, you fuck up in the first chapter, you fuck up in the second chapter, and you get fucked in the third one. Or the fourth one. The chapter ended now. And you get fucked in the fourth one. So, you also fuck up in the third chapter as well. You did fuck up quite a lot. You fuck up for 3 chapters and then you literally get fucked in the fourth one. So, I mean, quite predictable, I'd say. Anyhow, I mean, I'm not feeling any sympathy. Unfortunately. Sorry. I have no sympathy for feminists. No. None whatsoever. Sorry. Let's find out what happens in the next chapter. In the next video. Bye bye.